Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT Mid-Morning.
On WKYT this mid-morning, the latest from Ferguson, Missouri, where dozens have been arrested after a violent night and morning of protests.
A community prepares to honor a man who died days after being elected mayor.
And strong winds force Lexington to cancel recycling pickup for a while. There are some other ways, though, to get rid of your waste, and we'll tell you about that. Hey, good morning. It's good to have you with us on WKYT for mid-morning at 10 o'clock on your Tuesday. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. We're starting to look closer to the Thanksgiving holiday, and the weather.
Big travel day
could be
tomorrow.
A factor for a lot of people.
A lot of people are getting ready to head out, so we do want to track that. And let's go to meteorologist Micah Harris. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. You can see back behind me, if you're heading out today, you got a lot of blue skies. Things look really, really good outside. They don't feel too bad. It's still on the cool side, but nonetheless, it's November. It's late November. We're about to make our way into December. So what do you expect? It's 40 degrees now in Lexington, 39 there in Frankfort. We get into the rest of the afternoon, and it looks like we're going to continue to jump those temperatures in the 40s. We'll talk all about this forecast. And off towards your travel, I think that's the bigger issue, and I'll show you that coming up.
We'll see you in a bit, and we thank you. And more than 80 people were arrested as violent protests erupted overnight near St. Louis.
Angry protesters set fire to buildings and police cars and looted businesses after the grand jury decided not to indict Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson for the shooting death of Michael Brown. The National Guard is now in place.
Daniel Nottingham has the latest on the protests from Ferguson, Missouri.
It's daylight and crews are still working to put out a handful of fires here in Ferguson. It seemed like a matter of minutes before peaceful protest turned over to violence, and police so far say they've arrested at least 29 people. Protesters marched into the early hours. Demonstrations spiraled out of control and turned violent. At least a dozen buildings were set on fire. Businesses looted, windows broken, and hundreds of gunshots were heard.
What I've seen tonight is probably much worse than the worst night we ever had in August.
Police hurled tear gas into crowds. Some demonstrators taunted authorities and set fire to police cars.
The police brought it on themselves. They have an aggressive stance.
The rioting quickly spread here to West Florissant, where protesters set businesses on fire. Following the decision, prosecutors released documents reviewed by the 12 jurors, including images and testimony by Officer Wilson. Wilson says he shot a series of rounds at Brown during the August 9th confrontation, which began while he was still in his squad car. Wilson said, "His hands were inside on me, and he entered my vehicle with his hands, arms, and his head, assaulting me." Police continue to urge protesters to demonstrate peacefully.
Change is created through our voice and not through destruction of our community.
Brown's mother broke down among protesters following the decision. Even in her anger, she urged protesters not to combat violence with violence. The FAA restricted airspace over Ferguson because of the violence. That has since been lifted. In Ferguson, Missouri, Danielle Nottingham, now back to you.
And the Federal Aviation Administration has lifted the flight restrictions over Lambert St. Louis International Airport. At least 10 inbound flights were diverted or canceled because of gunshots being fired into the air during the protests.
Thousands of people are rallying across the country in protest of last night's decision. Police in several cities took precautions, but they report the demonstrations have largely been peaceful. Protesters blocked an intersection in downtown Oakland, California. In San Francisco, a few dozen people gathered in the Mission District there, and there were similar scenes in downtown Philadelphia as well as in New York City. A Lexington organization is putting together a peaceful protest in response to the grand jury decision. That will start with a march tonight at 6. The group will gather at 3rd Street and Limestone and then walk to the Courthouse Plaza. Organizers say they will honor both Michael Brown and Tony Sullivan, who was shot and killed by a Lexington police officer 20 years ago.
Happening today, a man charged in a deadly Lexington shooting will make his first court appearance. Jeffrey Morris was arrested earlier this month by U.S. Marshals in Arizona. He was booked into Lexington's jail overnight. Police say Morris shot and killed Anthony Carter in June on Chestnut Street. According to his arrest citation, several witnesses told police they saw the two men arguing, then saw Morris get away on a bicycle after the shooting. Morris will be arraigned this afternoon.
New on WKYT at mid-morning, 2 people are seriously hurt after a bizarre crash near Lexington's Fayette Mall. A woman told police that she fell asleep while driving in the mall parking lot. Her car went down an embankment, it flipped over several times, and eventually landed on Reynolds Road. Police say the driver and her passenger are badly hurt, but they are expected to survive. Reynolds Road is shut down near the Mall Road while crews clean up that crash.
This morning, we've learned the name of a Lexington murder suspect after police say he attacked officers in jail. 18-year-old Trayshawn Jones is accused of killing Flaco Lopez 2 years ago on Davenport Drive. Overnight, we learned Jones spit on and punched 2 officers in the Fayette County Detention Center. Jones, Alexander Burdett, Rodnisha Murphy, and a 4th person are also charged in the 2012 murder.
Today, family and friends will honor a man who died weeks after being elected the mayor of the town. Visitation for T.J. Hill is tonight at Lincoln County High School, and his funeral will be tomorrow at 1, also at the school. The coroner says Hill died last week of natural causes. The 56-year-old was a retired police officer, and he was Stanford's mayor-elect. Starting January 1st, Stanford City Council will have 30 days to select a new mayor. People in a Lexington neighborhood woke up to find a huge mess this morning. Police say they aren't sure how a fire hydrant was damaged early this morning on Rockridge Road off Tate's Creek. Water flowed freely for about 2 hours before crews could eventually shut it off. The police say they do not think anyone in the neighborhood lost water pressure because of the accident. And part of Interstate 75 is back open this morning after an unusual crash. Lexington police say a truck slammed into a semi hauling cars near the Winchester Road exit. The driver of the truck was able to walk away from the crash. At least 1 car on the semi is badly damaged. 2 lanes of I-75 were closed until about 2 o'clock this morning.
Another name could soon be added to the ballot for Kentucky's 2015 governor's race. Kentucky Supreme Court Justice Will Scott of Pikeville says he'll decide after the first of the year whether to run. The Herald Leader reports that if Scott does enter the Republican primary, he'll step down from the state's high court. If he runs, Scott will be in an already crowded race. Hal Heiner and Agriculture Commissioner James Comer are seeking the Republican nomination. Attorney General Jack Conway and Jeff Young are running on the Democratic ticket. Well, if you recycle in Lexington, your Rosie won't be picked up this week.
It's going to be delayed. That's because yesterday's windstorm damaged the roof of the city's recycling center. The damaged part of the building is covered under a warranty, but the director of waste management says they will not be able to process recyclables until next week. There are 16 recycling drop-off centers in Lexington, and we have a list and a map of those locations at WKYT.com. If you like to play the lottery, you'll soon have a new way to test out your luck. The Kentucky Lottery is planning to sell tickets online. The Kentucky Lottery Corporation says it hopes to have the project ready by this time next year. It's not clear yet which lottery products will be sold online. The lottery has partnered with G-Tech to make these online sales possible. Kentucky Lottery says sales are about $8 million below budget. And coming off a big win of historic proportions, the Kentucky Wildcats are back in action tonight.
Coach John Calipari says he's happy with how well his team is playing defense. The Cats held both Kansas and Montana State to under 20% shooting. The Cats will host the Mavericks of UT Arlington at Rupp Arena. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock on the SEC Network.